I got the product research module and heard you're closing the course soon. If the course is closed, can I still upgrade to the full course? Once the course is closed, nobody can get in it until we decide to reopen it, if we're going to. We haven't decided yet. So Asan, if you are interested in getting the full course, anyone who's bought in a single module, I always refund individual modules if you decide to upgrade to the full course. So if you want to do it, just make sure you do it before we close the course. How many students are in the course now? A little over 400, Nicholas. What's up from Milpitas? What's up, Vikas? What kind of blogs, niches, websites do you have? I have a website related to just, my kind of personal brand now. But before I tried a bunch of different stuff. I tried to monetize a website, basically using stuff from Spencer Hawes, Niche Pursuits. I tried to use like his program to monetize it based off keywords, and then use Amazon affiliates and other different types of monetization strategies. But it just didn't work as well as Amazon FBA. So once you find things that work, you really have to focus on that. Do sellers drop ship directly from the supplier to Amazon FBA? Or should we ship to our home then to FBA? LBB store. I mean, I ship directly from Chinese manufacturers to Amazon FBA warehouses. I don't like all the in-between stuff. Jeff Frazier. All right, first comment in the student group. Watching from Hervey Bay, Queensland. Nice, man. That's awesome. Yeah, we have so many different students from different countries. It's an amazing thing. I love it. How long before you close your course? Right now, guys, I'm tentatively planning on closing it at the end of this month, July 31st. That could change based on a couple variables, but as of right now, we're planning on closing it July 31st at midnight Pacific time. Thank you for always helping every time I ask you a question. Yeah, of course, Zane. Do you have a tutorial to get YouTube views? Is it more lucrative than FBA? Why do you do it? If not, George, the main reason I do it is because YouTube is a great way to reach like the most possible people and help the most possible people at the same time. Like right now, we have hundreds of people watching this, when it would be so difficult for me to kind of answer questions in a format like one-on-one to provide as much value. That's the beauty of technology, right? You can reach more people. Carrie, I'll be closing the course tentatively at the end of this month. Mikey, I grew up in Eugene, Oregon, but I'm not there anymore. If FBA is so lucrative, then why not focus on that instead of tutorials? I do both. What does your day look like? Lifestyle and stuff, hobbies. I like to work in like coffee shops and stuff. I've never really seen the point to pay for an office. I really set this up specifically to, let me do as much, if not all of the things as possible, and then outsource the things that I don't want to do, like graphic artists. I have a bunch of virtual assistants that do stuff for me. When are you leaving for your vacation trip? How long are you going to stay away, and how do you plan to help your course members while away? I mean, I don't really have a vacation. I mean, I'm traveling. I usually spend about 9 months of the year traveling and then 3 months in the USA, so it's not going to change at all. I'm still going to be 100% available to all my students. I'm going to check the student group. What's up, Kev? What up, Amber? Hi, Kevin, watching you from Germany. What's up, Dima? Jeff, I came across some software called Matchit.io. It looks pretty useful. Apparently, Amazon doesn't let us directly contact reviewers about their review. The software gets around that and allows you to contact customers who have left bad reviews. No, Jeff, you're allowed to contact people. You just have to do it through Amazon's messaging system. So once you find that person, you can click on their order number, and then there's an option to message the buyer, and you can talk to them about their review, right? You can't incentivize them to change it by saying like, hey, like I'll, give you this or that if you give me a good review, but like, you can offer to send a free replacement if there was some issue. You can try to rectify things that way, and that's perfectly okay. Oh my gosh. All right. There's a lot of YouTube comments, so I'm going to go back there really quickly. Anybody, if you have questions in the course, make sure you ask them in the Brown Belts group. I'm trying to answer, every single student question, but there's so many pouring in on YouTube right now. I guess I'll do those until we get more student questions. So do you need at least 3 reviews to start your PPC campaigns? And if so, do they need to be verified to get started, or can reviews be unverified to start out? You don't need 3 reviews. It's not like you can't start a campaign, Amber, but you don't want to, right? Like PPC is an expense, and you want the conversion rate and the click-through rate to be as high as possible when you are serving those ads, right? Because you don't want empty ad spend, and people are significantly more likely to purchase if you have those initial reviews. And so I always recommend having 3 verified reviews, right? Because the default view when someone clicks on the reviews, it shows the verified reviews, and it by default hides the unverified reviews, which is the whole point, right? And so if you get unverified reviews, right, and what I mean by that for people who don't know is reviews if you're giving products away for 95% off or whatever, when you're kind of trying to start that initial momentum. The reason that you want to have some verified reviews is so they can actually read them. A lot of customers won't click through to see unverified reviews, which are hidden by default, right? Unverified reviews are good because they do increase your star rating. So if you get 10 unverified reviews, all 5 stars, you'll still show 5-star, but people have to click through twice to actually see those. So that's why it's good to have 3 verified at least, and then you can get some unverified as well, right, to just boost your actual star ranking and have it show now that you have 10 reviews, so people might feel a little bit more comfortable about that. Could you give us a breakdown of where to find the different relevant reports, i.e. conversion, impression rates, click-through rates? Yeah, sure. Here, I'll sign into my seller account right now, actually, so I can tell you exactly what I'm looking for. So, one of the good places to start for this is in reports, right? Business reports. So, under reports and business reports, you can see a ton of good stuff, right? So the best one, in my opinion, is probably the detailed page sales and traffic report. So you can see a ton of stuff here, right? If you use Bid Plus, you can see good stuff in the advertising reports as well. But as far as reports directly from Amazon related to, session time, unit session percentage, right? Buy box percentage, how many sessions you're getting per day, right? You can track that. You can do a ton of stuff here. You can do a pivot table to show SKU performance. You can do it by day. You can do it by month. You can do it by year if you want, right? And this shows a ton of great information that is important, right? Like click-through percentages, unit session percentage, and if you hover over the actual column names, it'll say like unit session percentage. Might seem like kind of confusing at first, but it says percentage conversion metric indicating how many units were purchased relative to the number of people who viewed the products, right? So if 100 people viewed the products and you have a unit per session percentage of 21%, right, that means 21 people out of that 100 that viewed it actually bought, right? So any conversion percentage over 10% is quite good, depending on what your product is and how detailed it is. Yeah, of course, Amber. Do you know what happens if your FNSKU doesn't seem to scan when it reaches the Amazon warehouse? Any penalty besides them adding the label for 20 cents each? Yeah, so Jason, I mean, there's specific requirements as far as, what you can print an FNSKU on, and the level of granularity and detailed nature of the actual FNSKU itself, right? Like you couldn't like print it on like a napkin or something like that. It has to be on certain paper. It has to have certain level of detail for the barcode to be able to scan. So you can look up, Amazon barcode requirements or FNSKU requirements, and it'll give you like exactly, the type of specs that you need to actually print it on. But 99% of manufacturers that deal with Amazon sellers will already know about that. But if you want to be safe, it's okay because you can, go ahead and show them because it's really on you. It's never really on the manufacturer to know that. Hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I mean, there's no penalty other than them just having to add the labels for you. It's just more expensive for Amazon to do it than your supplier. Fetcher or Zero? Ben, I like both. I mean, Zero is like it can do anything you need accounting wise, which is always good. But Fetcher has a nice user interface. I'm a huge fan of Greg and all the software that they produce. It's all very well made. So it's kind of just a matter of preference, which one you want to learn, which one has more tutorials out there to show you and things like that. Dima, how do you figure out... Oh, sorry, I missed one. Can you please do a walkthrough of adding product variations in the listing, e.g. a t-shirt or shoe with 2 different colors or sizes? I'm not sure if I'm setting it up correctly. Thanks. Yeah, no, I definitely will. I'll make a video of that just because it's kind of annoying sharing your screen, switching to sharing your screen on a live broadcast. But I will do a video of exactly how to add variations, how to set it up to make sure you're doing it right, and I'll post that in the student group for you in the next few days. So don't worry about it. I will for sure answer that. How do you figure out if the brand is a big player or not? Sometimes you have a 2-sentence listing and 2 pictures, and they're making millions of turnover / a month. Brand. I mean, you can tell, Dima, if they're a big brand just by Google searching them, right? Like, I did a video a while ago with Medela, I think they're called, which is like, I've never heard of them, but apparently they're like the leader in like breast milk or like breastfeeding or bottles or something like that for, you know, mothers and things like that. And so I personally just didn't know that that was a big brand. And so if I was actually going to go into that, you know, niche or segment, I would do a little bit more research about the big player, the big brand, if they're doing, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions or whatever, and like everyone else is kind of doing a lot less. You can kind of make an assumption that they are, you know, a bigger player, and then just do a little bit of research on Google. You can see if they're a big company, whether or not they're listed like on a public exchange in the stock market, or, you know, if they have a huge presence on the internet and big social media pages and things like that. You can run multiple product display ad campaigns simultaneously, correct? Amber, yeah, you can. You could literally run it on all 10 of the top 10 organic search results, and I've done that before. I've found that product display ads are sometimes not as profitable as other campaigns. Like, you know, in AMS, by far the most profitable ads you can run are headline, right? It's not even close. I mean, you get 4 views for the price of 1 click, and then if you are setting it up how I teach my students to set it up, going to a brand page, right, with the aesthetically pleasing rows set up, if you have multiple products, if you have, you know, 20 products, you can show every single one of them, including those 4 initial impressions, for the price of 1 click, which is just ridiculous, right? How do you file for a patent pending status, not a full-blown patented? Well, patents take a long time, Ben. So, I mean, the point there is that patent pending is kind of like what you say when you're waiting for your patent to actually be approved by the USPTO. So, you know, some people are lying about that just because, you know, patent pending is kind of a buzzword that scares away competition. So you want to do the research for yourself. Just because you see patent pending doesn't mean that they actually have a patent. It just means that they, you know, they might not. They might just be trying to scare people. So do the research yourself. Have you been selling UK and DE? What are your thoughts about those two? I mean, the UK market is big, right? There's a ton of people over there. You know, Amazon's much newer. It's not as ingrained in people's lives like it is in America. So, you know, there's less volume, but there's also significantly less competition. So if you can get over kind of like the value added tax stuff, which turns off a lot of people just because it's kind of one extra step, then it's a definite huge opportunity, right? There's different cultural aspects. You have to do product research in slightly different ways, you know, and recognize, you know, what is doing well over there versus what is doing well over here. It's not always the exact same, so it's, you know, you have to go one step further sometimes, but it's definitely a good opportunity. And the cool thing about the UK market is that they actually fulfill to the other markets, right? So you don't have to actually send merchandise to like Spain and all the different individual markets. You can just keep them in the UK centers. Kev, for product launch, which software do you recommend in regards to getting reviews? Are Facebook review groups just as good? Yeah, I mean, definitely. I personally don't like any product launch software. I've used Viral Launch before, and they do a good job. But like, you know, JumpSend and all the other services that are like that are just so like overcome now with all the like kind of shady, shisty people who will just buy your product immediately to resell it. Right, and like you just don't want those like hijackers on your listing. They're not leaving solid, like good quality reviews. They just don't care. It's just like the kind of quick bang for your buck type thing, and they're just, for the most part, I just don't use them. I like the manual process that I go over in my product launch module, right? Doing it specifically for the keyword that you want to rank for. So you're not only building that sales rank, the sales velocity, which is so important for organic rank, right? But you're also building those organic rank results for the specific keywords that you want to target, and those are what are getting you, you know, your organic sales when people are searching those search terms that you are ranking higher and higher. And you know, once you eventually reach the first, second, or third page, then when people are searching those keywords, they're actually finding your products, which is, you know, obviously extremely important. You know, the whole point of Amazon is organic sales, right? The whole point of it, if it didn't have so much organic traffic, then everyone would just be selling on Shopify, right? Because if you have to drive all of your traffic through PPC, you might as well just do that with Facebook. But the beauty of Amazon is they have so many organic customers that are just, you know, very hooked on the Amazon brand, including myself, that you just get so many eyes if you're doing things correctly and you're launching in the way that we talk about, right? Going back to the Medela comment, would you jump in if high sales, low reviews, and the rest of the other criteria checks out and compete with that type of brand where it's not mainstream and not known by the average person? Yeah, definitely. For sure. I mean, no brand necessarily scares me. What scares me is the metrics we discussed as far as product research, right? I don't care if Nike is selling something as long as they don't have it patented. I don't care if Nike's selling something if the niche has low reviews and has the criteria that we look for in products, right? I'm not scared of any brand. I'm just scared of review incumbents that have 1,000 different reviews, and it would just be so hard to overcome that and kind of build that many reviews as well. Besides PPC, what are some good ways to get to page one? Derek, I mean, the number one thing about rank is sales velocity. So Amazon's algorithm, right, and you can see this for yourself. Look at the movers and shakers on the best sellers list that we talk about in some of the product research modules, right? You can see the percentage increase of their sales velocity in the movers and shakers. It actually shows you like a little green percentage, right? And that is what's boosting these people so quickly up. So if you had sales velocity, sales over a certain set of time period, and that drastically increases by percentage, Amazon's algorithm reads that as being very new and interesting, and maybe more people might want to see it. And if it's getting this many sales now and the velocity is increasing so quickly now, then maybe if we show it to more people are going to buy it. And when people buy products on Amazon, Amazon makes money, right? So they're obviously incentivized to show products that are being bought, because every time a product is bought, they either make money by selling it themselves or they make money by fulfilling it. So the more products that are sold, the more money Amazon makes, obviously, which is incentivizing them to rank products that are selling better and having higher sales velocity further up the organic list, right? Do you have any products that are in any of the consumer electronics category? I'm wondering what another high volume seller is looking at for return rate. I'm sitting at 13 to 20% with around 500 to 800 units a month, which means most of my profit is tied up in returns. Is tied up in returns, Matt? What do you mean, like actually returning your product? I'll wait for you to answer that and then answer again. With Facebook groups and giveaways for reviews, how long do you think it will take to get 100 or to 200 reviews? I mean, 100 reviews takes a while, right? Especially if you want them to be verified. I have products that have been around for a year and only have 100 reviews. But I'm not like actively going out there and trying to get reviews. There's review groups and there's people that you can pay back via PayPal, and doing things that aren't necessarily within terms of service to get your reviews up quickly, right? There's people out there who launch a product in a month and have 200 reviews, and people are like, how the hell are they doing that? And the reason, or the way that they're doing that, is with review teams that are based out of Bangladesh, and just gray hat to black hat methods that you just don't want to really do. There's not a enormous difference in the sales and click-through rate that your product will get if you make a valuable product and you add value to a niche, whether you have 10 reviews or 50 reviews, right? Somebody's not going to see that and say, well, they only have 10 versus 50, maybe I won't buy it. It is important, and it's absolutely important to have the initial reviews. Getting to 10 is significantly more important than getting from 10 to 50, right? But you have to have those initial reviews. It just makes all the difference in PPC. It's just how people purchase, right? You have to think about it as if you're the customer. If you see two products, one is $10 more but has 10 reviews, one is $10 less but has 0 reviews, more often than not, you're going to buy the one that's $10 more that has reviews, because you're not going to have to go through the process of returning it. You just, there's not as much mystery, and people don't like surprises. A product I'm looking at is sold as single units and in packs of 2 or 4. When I set up in Seller Central, am I best to set it up as separate products or parent-child? I would like to release single units first because it will be cheaper as giveaways. If I add a 2-unit variation in the future, will the reviews? Am I correct in saying this will not happen if I set it up as separate SKUs? Jeff, I always recommend setting it up as separate SKUs, right? Because you can play around with different keywords. You can play around with different PPC sets, right? You can, the value of your account, if you ever decide to sell it, is higher if you have 3 different product listings that each have their own reviews and each have their own, barriers to entry for other people coming in, rather than just one single unit, right, set. Because if you have the parent-child and child, it's just more difficult and confusing to kind of keep all the different keywords and PPC campaigns that you're testing separated. And I just prefer to spend the extra 10 minutes up front setting up 3 different listings rather than, doing the variation. methodology, because sometimes people will search like 6 wine glasses, and if your parent comes up with 1 wine glass, even if you have a variation of 6 in your parent-child listing, maybe that person is not going to click on your one parent listing because they're going straight to the one that shows 6 as their main hero image, right? So there's just a variety of reasons that I like to set it up this way, and you know it's the best way to send the bundled ebook, user manual, and or PDFs to your buyers. The best way is with your email campaigns. So I use Zonmaster. They have a little button that you click that basically allows you to attach a PDF, and you can send your ebook like that. And then you can look at some examples of ebooks that other people are selling. They advertise it in their photos, right? Not necessarily their main photo, and if they do, they're not supposed to. But in their second or third image, free ebook, right? You want to play it up. You want to market it, especially if you're doing a good job creating like a well put together ebook. You want to show people and tell people that you're including it. What percentage of sales ended up being returned? Most of my profit is tied up in the items being returned back to me. Yeah, I mean, 15 or what did you say? 13 to 20% is not necessarily the profit margin that I generally like to look for. I like to look for 50% or higher, and if it's huge volume, I might take 30 to 50%. But when you get down into the 20 and below range, it's just tough, right? Like PPC eats it up, giveaways eat it up, returns eat it up. It's just, I've never gotten into the electronic space because there's such a higher return rate overall in that specific category than in other categories, just because electronics are hard. People can't figure it out. Sometimes they can't get it to connect. Maybe they buy the wrong version, or it's not compatible with whatever. So I try to stay away from electronics, and specifically I try to stay away from products that have profit margins that are that low. Any chance you could do a case study in the full course? Gerald, yeah, definitely. I think that would actually be a cool project. I might actually do that next. I'll make a video on on adding a variation, and then maybe I could do a full course case study for one of the products I'm launching right now. So I could actually kind of maybe do it retrospectively. I could show how I found it with product research, and then I could show some of my communications with the supplier, some of the negotiations. I could show prices and things like that from my freight forwarder, which might be a cool way to kind of show people the entire process from start to finish with one of my products. So that's a good idea. I think people have brought it up before, but maybe it is time for me to do that. So keep reminding me, and I'll do a full case study for you guys. Do you recommend or suggest getting ungated without having any products yet and research those after? Jason, I mean, I think it's better to find a product that you would want to sell, in beauty or grocery beforehand, just because if you find some perfect product but you're not gated, but you are gated still, and then you get ungated and you kind of hit the ground running, rather than, maybe feeling overwhelmed, getting ungated, and then trying to find a product. So I recommend trying to find a product first. Well, there's so many YouTube comments. I'll come back and read some of these guys in a second, but I'm trying to answer all the student questions first, and there's a lot this time. So thank you guys for asking these. I'm gonna try to get through all of them. Do you recommend Chase for a business bank account, Emily? Yeah, I mean, I use Chase. Wire transfers are annoying and expensive. I always try to aggregate them into as few as possible, because I think it's $40 for an international and $25 for a national wire transfer using Chase. There are cheaper ways to do it. I've heard of as cheap as $15. But I try to aggregate into like huge payments, and it's just kind of a cost of doing business. I understand it is against TOS to ask friends and family to leave reviews for our products, but it is also against TOS to ask family and friends to buy our products and just not leave reviews. Yeah, Ashley, I mean, I wouldn't do it. Like, I can't even buy my own products, and like just to increase sales velocity during launch. I wouldn't recommend that personally. I mean, it's so easy to get people to buy your products, especially if you're discounting, right? There's a few 30,000 person review groups, and there's just those hungry deal chasers that are literally will buy anything. I know it doesn't seem like they would, but trust me, if you give 95% off, you'll get like 50 comments immediately, especially if you have a cool product. My product isn't live yet, but when I go to the product page, only the main image appears. Is that normal? Amber, what do you mean? Like your bullets and stuff aren't showing up? You can answer below, and then I'll follow up. Should we aim to create a brand and sell parallel products, or search just standalone good opportunity products? Should we aim for the buyer or the product? This is a good question. I tend to do both. So Amazon generally will allow you to have two accounts. You can get a second account. You just have to email seller performance. I show you guys exactly how to do that in module 8, and I give you the template that I've gotten approved for multiple times. I like to have one account where I just sell high margin products and have a general seller name, and sell garlic presses and all these different random products that have no relation just because they're high margin. And then in my other account, I do some deeper research, and then I join a niche that I'm passionate about and that has, positive signs of profitability, of upward mobility, of, trending in the world, whether it's going to launch in Australia or UK, right? You have to think internationally as well, and kind of the longevity of a brand account you have to think of as well. So I tend to do both. And as far as aiming for the buyer or the product, I definitely look at both. So for my brand account, the buyer niche is important. It's really good to have a fanatical audience, right? Like bird watching, for example. Like those people love like binoculars. They're willing to spend hundreds of dollars on them. And you want to have a niche that is not going away, right? Like fidget spinners is not a longevity focused niche that you'd want to enter. Toys are very erratic. Fashion is very cyclical. I like to find niches that are going to be around for a long time and are really only gaining popularity. Don't you miss the Portland craft beers when you're traveling? Yeah, I definitely do. Can you maybe talk more about researching products in the ungated categories? Maybe do a video specifically for that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Emily, there's no real difference, whether you're doing product research in gated categories or not. The only real difference is the amount of competition, right? So when you're selling categories, you can basically assume that 50% or more of people are not going to be ungated in those categories, right? So when you immediately cut out 50% of your competition, that's a good thing, right? But you still have to find products that are interesting and that would be profitable if you were going to sell them. But the methodologies are the same. You're looking at storefronts of sellers. You're looking at bestseller categories in those gated categories. You're going down the rabbit hole of related products, frequently bought together. You're seeing if you can add value, bundle, right? You're looking at the competitive landscape of those high volume keywords, whether it's like a face cream or if it's like some specific. I don't have a lot of beauty products, but you can see what I'm talking about. There's not a huge difference in your mentality. You're still approaching it in the same method. You just wouldn't have necessarily as much competition. Outside of the carrier and FBA label, is there anything else that needs to go on the shipment box? Unclear if the origin is supposed to go on the product label or the shipment box. It depends, Frank. So if you have a huge amount of cartons and you need the pallet labels as well, when you finish your shipping plan, Amazon will give you PDFs not only of the carton labels, right, which go on each carton, but also of the pallet labels. And if you're sending directly from the Amazon or from your China side supplier to an Amazon FBA warehouse, they have to prepare all of that in a way that Amazon accepts at their FBA warehouse, which basically means applying a carton label on each carton, applying the pallet label on the top and side, right? And Amazon goes super clear into this. All you have to do is Google search Amazon carton Amazon carton and pallet requirements, and they give you a very detailed step-by-step exact blueprint of how you have to do this. I know someone in the Black Belt group wanted to know about your journey to financial freedom. Oh yeah, nice. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. I'll keep it short because I don't want to talk too much about myself. I want to try to help you guys, but I worked at PwC, which is an accounting firm. I was making like 55 grand a year or something right out of college. Everyone told me that it was so great and right, I should be so lucky. There was hundreds of applicants and I was the person chosen, and they're really, serving the Kool-Aid and making me think that I should be so grateful for this. And I did meet some cool people. I learned some things, but then I realized, I don't want to be in an office for 50 to 80 hours a week with people that I'm not choosing to be with, right? I want to be traveling the world. I want to be, learning all these new things. I want to be having these experiences. I want to be living my life on my own terms. And so I basically just decided one day, I think it was Friday at like 8 p.m., I was like, I got to get out of here. And so at that moment, I started doing everything. Like I was literally buying and selling concert tickets with my friends. I was, I made an iOS app. I found a coder off Upwork and spent, hundreds of hours making this app. I did blogs, tried to monetize them with Google AdWords, with Amazon affiliate, trying to, rank with SEO. I did all types of things basically to, be free and be on my own terms. And once I had, kind of a nest egg saved up as far as money, I worked for 2 years. I spent a year at PwC, I spent a year at Facebook, and then I spent like 6 months at a company called BDO. Uh, Once I had enough money kind of saved up, then I just decided, that was it. And so I jumped full steam ahead after researching into Amazon FBA. I invested $6,000 into my first order, and I made that back incredibly quickly, thankfully. And the rest is history, I guess. Uh, okay. No, just like my main photo shows up and not the other images, I've uploaded photos 2 through 7. I wouldn't worry too much about that. If your product goes live and you still can't see them, you can message me or seller support and they'll get that worked out. It wouldn't be a big issue. Does Amazon say anything to you for having multiple seller accounts? I have approved multiple seller accounts, right? Whether or not I have other accounts that aren't approved is obviously a different question. But yeah, if they know about it, you need to use completely different information. I like to have them completely unlinked to kind of mitigate the suspension risk. But yeah, Amazon approves it, right? You have that email evidence from them, and so Amazon can't really say anything about you having multiple seller accounts if they approve you to have multiple seller accounts. What do you think about the vendor program from Amazon? I wouldn't personally do it. They take a lot of freedom away. I don't like when Amazon controls things even more so than they already do, and they obviously control pretty much everything right now. So I wouldn't personally recommend it, but it could work depending on what your product is and situation is. When we posted in review groups, some people, it will draw magnets from Amazon to suspend our listing. What is the best way to post our products in the review groups? Is it posting the sales and not mentioning? Is it just posting the sales and not mentioned, please review my products? No, I wouldn't say that. I've used review groups a ton of times. I don't think Amazon's monitoring that, and it's not actually against terms of service to, give away products to increase your initial BSR. Just say like, hey, I'm running a giveaway for these products. We're selling them for 95% off. Please comment below or send me a personal message if you're interested. And right when they send you a personal message, then you send them the keywords, right, to try to increase your keyword rank in that private message. Just how I explained in the product launch module in module 4, right? And so you're kind of getting two birds with one stone in the sense that your BSR is increasing, but you're also increasing the organic page rank for those targeted keywords that are going to get you organic sales. Jason, I do a pretty detailed review group tutorial in module 4. Damn, went offline again when answering my question. Haha. Okay, didn't know if there were specific products we couldn't sell, like topical stuff. Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. Beauty has additional gated subcategories. So if you want to sell specific subcategories in beauty, it's important to, whenever I'm going to sell a new or weird product that I'm not sure about in like a weird category, I always chat Amazon seller support and say, hey, is this ASIN restricted for me to sell on Amazon? And then I have that written evidence from Amazon directly saying, yes, this is gated, no, this is not gated. And there's some really weird ones, right? Like if you look online, if you look at lockpick sets, right? Or if you look at small magnetic balls, those seem ridiculously good, right? The numbers are crazy. They have huge amount of sales. They have a lot of different sellers selling them. And so people are like, well, if there's so many sellers selling them, then I probably can be selling them too. But it sucks when, you order 500 units, assuming that they show up in Amazon and you get an email saying your listing's been suspended because, no one's allowed to sell lockpicks or small magnetic balls on Amazon. And it's obviously not fair, right? Because other people are doing it, but you don't know their situation. Maybe they are grandfathered in some way. Maybe they have some specific certification you need. But it's always worthwhile to just open a quick chat with seller support and say, hey, is this a gated category? Can I sell this product? By completely different information on different seller accounts, what exactly do you mean? Do you have to use different addresses, different CC cards, everything? John, yeah. 100%. I don't even use the same name. Literally every single thing is different. Every single thing. because you don't want that link. If you do get suspended for some reason, like if an IP claim or something that happens to most sellers, right? You're not necessarily doing anything wrong, but Amazon just sometimes will suspend you anyways. You don't want any link between those two accounts, even if it is approved. You want them to be completely separate so that you can mitigate your suspension risk as best as possible. All right, that is all the student questions for right now, so I'm going to go to YouTube. All right, there's a ton of questions, so I'm just going to start at the bottom. So if anybody has any questions they really want to see answered, just copy and paste them in again, and then I'll answer them. Kevin, I found one product has 2 main keywords. One has low competition, but if I put the another keyword, JS is giving me a little more competition. Caesar, yeah, I mean, this is important, right? Because you want to target based on the volume of the keywords, right? If you find one sweet product or whatever, and and you're going to say, wow, this is so amazing, this product is doing so well, but then when you search the keyword related to that product, right, you see that there's thousands of reviews and, there's all these super, red flag indicators of not going into a product, then it's tough, right? So if you read my 6 steps of product research that's available to everyone in the common question document, in the pinned post, the last sentences is about how to actually find a niche, more so than actually just finding a product itself, because sometimes it can be deceiving. You can find an awesome product, but when you look at the competitive landscape of that overall niche, you see a bunch of contenders that have thousands of reviews. So there's definitely a next step after you find a single product to look at the overall competitive landscape of that niche itself. I have 2 listings and I got my backend keywords using async. Only one is getting a lot of impressions for auto campaign and one is getting a low amount, 370 for 429. So you have 2 automatic campaigns running for the same product. Andy, why would you do that? Hope you will have a 24-hour flash sale of your course. I would jump on it. Yeah, maybe I'll do that, but probably not. Is it common for price to drop by time? You find it when you order and it actually comes to fulfillment center. Average price of all sellers on that item. Not necessarily, Goran. I think I actually know what you're talking about, like what product. When a fidget, let's take fidgets for example, right? If you do a fidget spinner, if you're the first one, I remember when fidgets first came out, if you guys watched my video on that, they were like $49.99, right? And they cost like $1. So people were making like $35, $38 profit on that, which is ridiculous per item if they're selling 50 per day. But then once everybody sees how profitable that is and you're selling 100,000 a day and wow, I got to do this so fast, right? Then 100 different sellers come in and, the beauty of economics and supply and demand causes those prices to shoot all the way down. The lag time it takes you to ship in, especially if it's by sea, can cause the average price to go way down. That's why I think it's so important to target products that aren't doing, $1 million a month, but are doing like 7 to 15,000 a month, right? So it's not enough that it's actually, attracting all these different competitors, but it's enough to make, the process worthwhile, right? Because once you do the upfront work, you make that infrastructure, right? All it is clicking a button and the listing's there. You just replenish inventory and it continues to make you more and more money. That's the beauty of Amazon, right? You do the work up front, but then you reap the rewards for months or years to come with only having to replenish sending a single email to your supplier. That's the beauty, right? So I'm going to go back to the student group really quick. From where can we get the information that products like Lockpick is forbidden to sell? Does exist a list of products or do we have to ask every product? Yeah, I mean, you can. Unfortunately, Dima, in a perfect world, you could just enter an ASIN into like a search bar or something like that, and it would tell you. But Amazon has a list of gated categories, but it's very confusing. There's a ton of different subcategory nodes, and so to be safe, whenever I get very serious about launching a new product, I always just open a chat ticket. It takes like 2 seconds, and they can tell you whether or not that specific ASIN or a product is gated, and it's worth it for you guys. So I would definitely do it. I contacted suppliers and one has replied via my actual email and not Skype. Is it okay to respond to that or strictly keep it in Skype? Yeah, of course you can, Emily. I mean, just when you're talking to 10, 50, or 100 different manufacturers, it's so confusing if half of it's in Alibaba, half of it's in your email, half of it's on WhatsApp, right? I like to keep it all very condensed and specifically in Skype to stay organized for the most part. Makes an interim storage in US cents to save storage fees from Amazon, and if yes, do you have a recommendation? No, because I mean the transit of getting your products to these other storage centers is just not worth it, right? if you're going to hit that 6-month period where long-term storage fees kick in for storage, then maybe it is. But, if you're not in the long-term storage range, which is the 6-month range, then just keep them in Amazon, because you have to remember, when you send 500 units to an Amazon FBA warehouse center in California, they're dispersing those 500 units all across the country to be able to meet that 2-day requirement of Amazon Prime, right? And so if you have 20 products in Pennsylvania and 50 in Missouri and 75 in New York, the logistics of moving all of those different dispersed units into a storage center outside of Amazon to save money on storage fees is just not worth your time, money, or, thoughts. Yeah, I know, Emily. You'll find that manufacturers don't read what you say. That's why you have to number it, right? Because in the Chinese school system, they are very, attuned and brought up to answer numbered lists, which is why it's so important when you're talking to manufacturers to send them numbers so they can respond to each one individually instead of, ignoring half the stuff you say. I put in all caps, message me on Skype. I will not respond via Alibaba or any other means. So you just have to be clear. And it tells you about manufacturers too, right? If their attention to detail is lacking even in an initial email, then how is that going to translate to when they're actually, doing quality assurance on your actual products themselves? Have you ever had a product fail over time because other sellers came along with better listings, pictures, and bundles? I have a product that's pretty much died this last month due to competition, so I have to recall them and make them better pictures and bundle. No, I haven't, Matt, but that's because once you get to a certain point, it's difficult to be able to create a listing better than the prototype, right? So I've made enough listings now that unless somebody is inventing something new that's just so amazing, you can't really make a listing better than the listings that I teach you guys how to make, right? If you're fully optimized in the back end, if you have beautiful, lifestyle, high definition, quality photos, if your bullets and title are optimized based on your search term report of your PPC campaign and your highest volume keywords, then, people can't make a listing significantly better than that, right? And you're adding value every time you create a new product, right? And we're not just copying people, we're creating a better version based off the negative reviews, right? We're updating it, we're making it more valuable, we're making it easier on customers, which is why they're buying our product and not other people's. So I've never had that problem personally, because you want to do the work up front to make sure that what you put out is the highest possible value, the most quality, right, and the best experience that your customer could get. Does a freight forwarder gather all of your samples and send them to you as one package in order to save shipping expenses? No, my freight forwarder doesn't deal with my samples. Everyone, it's always kind of annoying paying $150 for one unit of a product, but your supplier will orchestrate e-packet shipping, and 99.9% of the time your suppliers will take that sample expense out of your first order, right? So it's important to finalize your overall prices, right? So $1 per unit for 500 units. Do all of that before you ever discuss the samples, right? So you're going to pay $1 a unit for 500, so your total order price is $500. They're going to say, okay, now let's talk about samples. So it's going to be $150 for the sample and $40 for shipping. So it's going to be $190 for the sample. And I'll say, okay, but that $190 for the sample is going to come off the total order price of my first order. And 99% of suppliers will say, okay. And so basically it makes the sample essentially free. What percentage of profit would you recommend pulling from your business as personal income? How much of our profit should we keep liquid and not reinvest in the stock? That's a great question, Brad. It depends on what lifestyle you want to live, right? If you're traveling the world 9 months a year, it's kind of hard to not spend money. But, if you're being frugal and you're saving for a house or for a car or, for someone's education, then, it's a lot easier to save. But I really don't take any money out of my Amazon business. I've just constantly reinvested, over and over and over. And that's when you start to really see the power of Amazon, when you're, making thousands or $50,000 or $100,000 a month from all of these different products, right? And you're not taking out any money at all. Then all of a sudden, 12 months later, you're like, holy crap, I'm making a ton of money. And, if I ever need to take it out for any reason, it's there. But if I don't need to take it out and I'm still living exactly how I want to, then, just keep reinvesting over and over and over. They also said the MOQ is 20 GP container. What is GP? I'm not sure, Emily. You should just ask them. I mean, some suppliers use weird terms that I've never heard of. I'm gonna go back to YouTube really quick. Best thing you can do for Amazon FBA is buy this course. Thank you, Chris. Does the course offer more than what Kevin teaches in these vids? His YouTube vids are great. Yeah, definitely. WSCH Rad. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Yeah, it's 100 times deeper. Not only is there so much more information in the course, it's organized in a very succinct way that kind of takes you step by step by step through each part, right? It takes kind of the overwhelming nature of the overall business model out of it. It gets you access to our private student groups, which are amazing, right? All of the people in the kind of the same steps going through the process of getting their first and second and third products live. And you obviously get direct contact with me in a way that I can't unfortunately offer to everyone. So I've been really trying to prioritize all of my students, all of my full course students, answering all of their questions and things like that. I'm sure the Ninja course is the best one out there. Hopefully, Philip. Hands down. Yeah, fuck. Oh. Thinking of selling your course. My mom's a... Please talk to us about the best practices to be successful on Amazon Prime Day this week. Oh, what's up, Craig? Craig, you should come into the Amazon Brown Belts group. That's where I've been trying to answer all of the questions because I want to make sure I answer all the student questions first. Okay, so Prime Day is basically like Q4, except it's only one day and it's not for an entire month, right? So if you've never sold on Amazon during Q4, you're going to be very happy because the volume increases depending on what you sell, right? If you have a gift-related product, which I always recommend people do because it decreases return rates, and there's a couple of other beneficial factors of selling giftable products. But Prime Day, you're just going to see a huge volume, right? You're going to see a huge amount of impressions, a huge amount of organic sales, right? And you want to take advantage of it by doing a few things. So you want to make sure that you have organic rank going into Prime Day, right? So Prime Day, if you're on page 1 or 2 during Prime Day, you're going to get a ridiculous amount of organic sales, right? And you want to ride that momentum. So preparing for Prime Day, it's important to do giveaways going into Prime Day, right? To get ranked on page 1 or page 2 of your highest volume, most targeted, most important keywords so that you are getting all of those organic eyes, right? Because Amazon does an absolutely fantastic job of getting millions of eyes on their website during that time, right? If you have products you want to get rid of, you can do lightning deals. They're $500 instead of $150, but you're going to get a ridiculous amount of customers looking at your products. You can get rid of products that way that aren't selling well or if you want to exit from. But one of the most important things is being prepared for Prime Day, is being on page 1 or 2 for your most important keywords so that when you're getting so many more organic looks and eyes on your product, you're in a position where you can take advantage of that. And then when you get that huge boost of sales related to those keywords from Prime Day, you can ride that momentum after Prime Day by maintaining that position on page 1 and page 2. Could you give some insight into how to sell a merch-fulfilled bestseller as an FBA seller? I heard that you can manufacture yourself and then sell on their listing using reviews and Philip, I never recommend selling on other people's listings, right? It's just not the long-term solution. Private label is the long-term solution, right? You want to build value, you want to build a brand, you want to build a business that's sustainable for the long term. Selling a merch-fulfilled bestseller as an FBA seller is a great opportunity, right? Because one of, if not the most important buying factor of a listing for people on Amazon is whether or not that listing is Prime shipping eligible. If I saw 2 products, one was Prime and one was not, I would probably easily pay $10, $20 more for that Prime eligibility because I'd get it faster. Amazon's done an amazing job of revolutionizing online business by creating Prime. It's incredibly important. So, transitioning a merchant-fulfilled item to a Prime item by shipping it into an Amazon FBA warehouse is a great way and a way that I've made, a significant amount of money before. How much more stock do you need to have in time for holiday season comparing to regular time? A lot. Yulia, probably, between 2 to 10 times more. And there's actually a strange little thing that happens. People kind of think that sales stop in January, but there's so many returns after Christmas where people return what other people bought them and buy what they actually want on Amazon that you'll actually see sustained sales going into January as well. So if you overshoot your inventory by a little bit, that's okay. You'll be able to sell them anyways, and you'd rather have too much than too little. What's the safest way to buy UPC codes? I mean, the safest way is GS1, but it's also the most expensive. Is it a good idea to keep some inventory at home and just restock Amazon when you run out? I've never personally done that. I just send it all into Amazon, but I'm a big fan of streamlining processes and things like that. I'm going to go back to the student group really quick just to make sure that I don't have any there. Have you ever used a sourcing agent to do product photography? No, I have a team based out of New Zealand that are really good for lifestyle photos, which is so important. And a lot of people just don't do lifestyle photos, right, with people in them, with smiling babies, just because it's so much more difficult to kind of do that than just taking like the, just product alone photos. But it's so important to have beautiful photos. It's probably the #1 thing that I really spend a ton of money on during the process, because photos are what gets sales, guys. So you narrow your list of suppliers by price first and only then get samples. If I figured I should check the quality of product first and then negotiate price based on the best samples, it got kind of expensive. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll find the best 3 suppliers based on, I'll look at their online presence, I'll look at how long they've been on Alibaba, I'll look at their sales, I'll evaluate them based on, how communicative their sales representative is, if they speak great English, if they shown me pictures and videos of their factory and it looks clean and orderly, right? And then we'll talk about pricing, right? I'll get it as low as possible. I'll leverage all 3 of my finalists against each other. Like say, hey, supplier A is offering me these widgets at 75 cents each. Could I do, 60 cents each with you? And then you'd have my business, right? So I always leverage them against each other, which is important to do. So your different seller accounts are from different LLCs, or one is a personal account? Yeah, different LLCs, Stavros. Which U.S. bank can you recommend? I use Chase. If a product's top 5 sellers have over 909 inventory when tracking all days in the seller, and the sellers below that as well are fixed inventory, so we can't spy, is it okay to go off Camel BSR of the top 5 sellers instead if it looks good? Yeah, it's okay. It's not what I necessarily recommend, but it's definitely an option. I've done that before, but you have to be pretty sure, right? You can look at Google Trends also. You can sustained BSR over a long period of time for 5 different sellers, if they have low reviews and things like that, is enough of an indication to jump in. It's just not the best indication, right? The best is actual sales data, which is why I recommend using the Jungle Scout product tracker and using the iTrack909 method. Can we get Amazon to increase our initial storage capacity? Yeah, definitely, Brad. Just all you have to do is send a quick note to seller support. They increased my initial inventory from 1,000 to like 20,000. It took me like 30 seconds. It's important to note, nobody's asked this, but it's important to note, guys, Amazon will refund your seller fees, like the $39.99 or whatever it is, so easily. All you have to do is ask, right? If you open a professional seller account and it takes 3 months for your inventory to get there, don't let Amazon charge you that $120. Say, hey, I didn't realize I had this professional account open. Could you refund me for these 3 months that I had no inventory? And they'll just do it immediately, and it's super easy, and just make sure that you're not wasting money, right? Are the details of the NZ photography team listed in the course? Jeff, no, they're not. They're quite expensive. I don't know if they're taking other customers, but I could check with them, and if they are, then if people are interested in using the same team that I use, then maybe we could work something out for the full course students. How do you optimize your PPC when a lot of your sales are coming from ASINs? This is a good question, Oscar. So the reason you have ASINs in your search term report is that somebody views a different related product and then clicks on your product in the related categories below, right? So like related sponsored products, products related to this item, right? You'll see that in the Amazon, if you scroll down on any product listing, you'll see related products. So if somebody clicks your product from a different product, that's why you're seeing ASINs on your PPC. So you can actually run PPC campaigns for these ASINs. And I know that seems ridiculous, but try it for yourself and see if it works for you. Stuck on PPC optimizing. Recently started JumpSend and have had auto PPC running for 7 days, but wanted to go manual and optimize. But unfortunately, my word search term looks really weird. Do you mind checking out my product in word search term? What do you mean word search term? I think you probably mean search term report. Yeah, I'd be happy to take a look at it. We can do that once we're off the live broadcast. I'm going to go back to YouTube really quick. Just from talking to Kevin on Facebook a little more and watching vids, Tanner's not a competitor. I have Tanner's course, and it left me with a lot of things to figure out myself. I'm glad you like my course, GC. I have both courses, and Kevin's course is so much better and goes way deeper than Tanner's course does. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. Do you compete against brand names if the reviews are low? ZZ, yeah, absolutely. Would love to sell your affiliate course. Does it have cookies and allow for retargeting and conversion tracking? Yeah, we use we use ClickFunnels for all of our affiliate stuff, so they have hour-long temporary cookies. Retargeting and conversion tracking, I think you mean that in Facebook. So we use our Pixel for that. So unfortunately, that's not public data. But yeah, we'd love to have you as an affiliate. A lot of people have made a lot of money selling our course. I think just because they really believe in the content, and I obviously believe in it. So much. We've already been able to help so many people. So, yeah, if you'd like to become an affiliate, we'd love to have you. How much money would you realistically need to start investing to get your feet wet? I mean, just out of your course, I think it would be wise to start right away, not to lose moment. Pedro, could you rephrase that? I'm not exactly sure. I usually recommend $1,000 to $6,000 kind of for your first order. Obviously, the more money you invest up front, the quicker you can kind of see returns, just like in any business. It may be a huge inventory because the other sellers are making good profits. He is one of the top sellers. Kevin, are you willing to share your photography with us? Craig, yeah, for the full course students, I could probably figure something out. I'm not sure if they're taking on more clients, but they are a bit more expensive. But if you're okay with that and they are willing to take more clients, then we can definitely figure something out for the full course students. Obviously, I'm always going to help you guys as much as possible. What's up, Tim? I haven't seen you for a while. What are the other e-commerce stores does the FBA allows yours to sell? I mean, Shopify you can fulfill with Amazon, right? And you don't pay the 15% Amazon referral fee, right? So Amazon attracts so many organic customers for you that you really... you pay that 15% referral fee to Amazon that you don't pay on Shopify, so that's obviously a good way to do things, but you have to drive your own traffic. Wait, Kev, do you live in Portland? I'm in Southeast Woodstock. No, I'm in Denver right now, but I'm heading out to New Zealand in a month or two, and then I'm going to be living in Spain probably in February. Hi, would your course apply to us in the UK? Absolutely. Scubby Doe. Some of my most successful students are out of the UK. So yeah, it absolutely does. I'm gonna go back to the student group. I'm gonna answer questions for about 2 more minutes, guys. We're almost at the hour now. I always love doing these with you. I hope you guys are enjoying it, learning some things. I'd love to affiliate market the hell out of your course since it's so awesome, especially compared to Tanner's, but with it closing at the end of the month, what to do? William, yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. I haven't decided yet for sure about when we're going to close the course, but I always wanted to, close it in a way that would allow me to, give everyone the one-on-one that they deserve and also keep the methods that we talk about, to ourselves in a way that, they remain as effective as they are right now, right? Because when everybody knows about a method on Amazon, like the external benefits, right, with the upsells, then Amazon closes it, and then it's no good for everyone. So it's kind of a delicate balance, helping as many people as I can, but also, keeping all of these methods and tactics and strategies that are working so well and making all of our students so much money kind of just in the student family. But I wouldn't worry if you are going to do affiliate marketing. The course will be open for a while longer. I have to figure out exactly when I'm going to close it. What do you recommend for Jungle Scout, web app, standard, or startup? Please help. I use the standard. I usually just use the web app for like 1 month during like heavy product research times. But I love the course. I love the Chrome extension. I use the professional one just because you can filter and things like that. Can you tell us what percentage of people become successful at this? I mean, that's an impossible question to answer. Like any business, you get what you put out, right? If you're doing everything in the way that we talk about it, if you're doing your due diligence on product research, if you're, saving money at every corner, doing the shipping, if you make a fully optimized listing with great pictures, get some initial reviews, run the PPC campaigns using all of our super advanced strategies to get in front of the most eyes for the cheapest cost, then you're going to be successful. It's just as simple as that. Hey Kevin, how does Amazon receive your products to ship them? At their FBA warehouses, so you have to make an appointment, but usually my freight forwarder does that, and then they just unload the trucks, unloads your pallets and cartons, they scan it in based on the carton labels, right, and then they process it into their Amazon warehouse. So let's take a couple questions, a couple more. Do you know if you can ship through Prime if you link your Shopify store to your Amazon account? Yeah, absolutely. No, you can't. You can't ship through. Oh yeah, sorry, I misunderstood your question. Yeah, you definitely can. If you have your products in an Amazon FBA warehouse, they will ship in the same amount of time. You set up your shipping plan based on the table that they give for multi-channel fulfillment, and I'll talk about that. I'll make a video about that when I get around to making a course on how to be successful at Shopify as well, because we do have some very successful Shopify stores also that we do sell on. So we can diversify a bit once you kind of get to a level you want to be at on Amazon. How do we limit how many units can the person buy our products when we give out single-use coupon codes? Ashley, you do that by setting max order quantity, so you do that in your actual product listing. So you go into the edit section and you set the max order quantity to 1, right? And then you do single-use coupons that you can't combine with any other offers, and that only allows them to buy 1. A couple more questions, and then we're going to stop for today. What is your preferred shipping type? Do you generally just go express, or do you try to go by sea as much as possible to increase profit? It depends. I like to ship a portion by air, and then ship the rest by sea, so I can get the kind of initial momentum going, right? I'll plot out an inventory forecast, how many I need for giveaways, how many I need, based on what the other sellers are selling per day, and I'll allocate that many by air to get things moving, and then I'll ship the rest by sea, so they arrive as I'm stocking out of the by air shipment. All right, guys, last question. What do you do about photos if I'm not getting a sample? Do I order my own product and send that photographer on Fiverr? I mean, if you don't want to get a sample, if it's a super easy product, you can have your manufacturer, take the photos for you, I guess. Or yeah, you could always order your product, to a friend and have them do it. Amazon won't actually let you order your own product, but yeah. WS Trad, Amaze Owl versus Jungle Scout. Definitely Jungle Scout. I mean, they have such an amazing team, and they have so much more data collected. Dude, I love how you're so reserved when people talk about Tanner as your competitor. You'll earn a lot of respect. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I mean, I have nothing against Tanner. I guess technically we're competition, but he's doing a good job at educating people. Hopefully, he's done a great job at affiliate marketing. I respect, what he's done for himself, and, I wish him all the best, obviously. SEO, do you cover it in your course? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, SEO within Amazon is so important. As far as Google ranking SEO, we don't touch on that as much, but I could do a video on SEO for Google and some of the newest type stuff for that, because SEO can be important, right, with your canonical URL when people do search in Google and an Amazon search result comes first. My mother-in-law makes some great salsa. Can I sell it on Amazon? I wouldn't recommend sending perishable items into Amazon FBA warehouses. Thanks, man. That was so helpful. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a fun Sunday. Ninja versus Tanner undercard for the McGregor and Floyd fight. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I love doing this. It was so fun to talk to all of you guys. All of my students, you guys are amazing. I'm so excited that everyone's really starting to get their products in and become so successful. And I can't wait to have, more people join. And we will definitely see you guys again very soon. Have a good Sunday, guys. We'll see you soon.